Welcome back to the Are We There Yet podcast studio. Thank you so much, by the way, for all of your comments. Now, I know you are going to love this episode because my guest this week is an author. She is an ex-guard. She is a cancer survivor, and she also happens to be the mother of one of the most famous men on the planet. We talked about the importance of being in the present. We talked about how cancer completely altered her perspective on life and how she is so ultra protective over her kids, and that they are all determined that fame is not going to change them, and they are the normal family from Maynooth that they always were. Loved this conversation with her today, and I hope you do too. Dearbhla Mescal. It is so lovely to have you in the Are We There Yet studio.
I'm in your studio and I'm talking to you. It's lovely.
It is, because I know you have had such a whirlwind few weeks. I mean, finding joy.
Yes.
This little tomb of absolute pleasure and gratitude. And I was away in the west of Ireland with my kids and I had it with me. And
did you really?
Yeah, and I absolutely loved it. And it was just being away in a cottage in Ballyvaughan, turf fire on. Oh my God. And this with a glass of vino. I was never happier to do the research that I had to put in.
I'm so glad.
So it is so
I love
lovely
the feel of the book.
I love it as well. And all of the colours.
Yeah.
Do you notice I wore the brightest colours I own?
In the really bright colours.
For you today. Yeah, because I mean, when I think of you, I suppose that's what I think of, colour and brightness and joy and happiness. And that's what this book is.
Yes.
And we'll talk all about it, because this is kind of just like a hard copy of basically what started out on your Instagram page.
Yeah. It started out as a conversation between two tired mums, as you are.
Take me back there.
You know, we were, I think Donica was under 14s. It was probably around this time of year because it was spring league.
Yeah.
It was pouring rain. It was wind was coming sideways. There was no trees to protect us. And she said to me, when is it going to be my time? She was going through stuff. And I kind of went, well, no, not now. No. Now we mother.
Yeah. And
when I said it very fast, because I remember it being an automatic reaction to her. Like, no, it's not about us. And then I kind of said, I have to do better than that. This person is being vulnerable and I need to be vulnerable back and lean into that place that I probably, we all try, I think, to be super mum, superwoman. You know, I'm a person who turns up on time. I'm a person who, has already planned where I'm going to park before I get there. I'm the designated driver. I have my hand up at a PTA saying yes to this and yes to this, having no idea how I'm going to do that and everything else.
Yeah.
But that was my mentality.
Yeah.
I hadn't learned to say no at that point.
Right.
And I don't know whether
I think we're all guilty. We can all be guilty of that.
I think that comes as you get older.
Yeah.
That you start to say, hold on a second, this body of mine isn't going to do everything you're expecting it to do if it's not being filled. It's a bit like trying to drive. I don't have an electric car, but I'm guessing it's a bit like seeing your electric car battery.
Yeah.
Like it's a
reduce.
And you need to recharge.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure, well, if I just go the next 30 minutes, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And
it's funny, that actually happened to us when we were in the west of Ireland, because there's not a lot of charging points down there. And my husband, and I think this is the difference between parents as well. My husband is he sounds quite like you in a way, that he likes to know what's happening. He's very organized. He doesn't like things coming at him left or centre. He has his, whereas I'd be a little bit more, a bit flahulach, a bit scatty. I'm trying to be better with the time management. But it's interesting how we come at it as parents, because he likes order in the parenting, whereas I love the kind of the messiness of parenting.
Yeah.
Even though it can be stressful at times as well. But anyway, just when we were traveling along those country roads, I was like, it'll be grand. It'll be grand. I could just feel his stress levels go like this.
I don't think that would suit my personality. But in relation to parenting, it's funny. I'm chaotic.
Are you?
So
okay.
it's kind of like, and chaos isn't a bad thing.
Oh, chaos is great.
Yeah, I think chaos breeds creativity.
Yeah.
I think in the mess you find, and this sounds, but you do find magic. So, you know, if you allow your children have that little bit of chaos and messiness and not always painting inside the lines, that, you know, that what they're saying is sometimes when kids speak, or what I found was when my children spoke, they spoke about imagination and thoughts that were, you know, we're not going to be going to Disneyland on Sunday. Like, that's just not going to happen. But you want to dream that, let's talk about it. What does it look like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? And so there's a magic in letting your mind go. And I think for Paul and myself, as rigid as, like, we both had very, very ordinary jobs, teacher and guard. So permanent, pensionable jobs.
Yeah. Straightforward.
And very straightforward.
Yeah.
Really, like, very lucky. We knew what money was coming in, so it's very easy to manage your life. But I think we both knew that we both had something that we longed for our kids to have, other than just being kind of in their lane. We wanted them to be slightly able to.
But clearly you've got, because you are hugely creative, right? And I know your husband, Paul, because it's the Paul that we all know. And then there's husband Paul that you know better than anybody. And he was big into acting as well. So there was that creative spark, clearly, that 2 out of 3 of your kids inherited and ran with and were supported to do so.
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting? There's a piano in our house. It's old piano. It's like 200 years old. Like, it was handed down from another person who didn't want the piano. And so we took it in. So it was, you know, whatever it is, it's 30 years in our house. It's out of tune. She's a grand old upright who will never be grand. You know, she's got the there's the wonky that don't work, the wonky keys. Exactly.
All yellow.
Absolutely. And dirty.
Yeah.
And not polished. And it's one of the things I always know when the house is full. Somebody's on the piano playing, and there's a sound, and that sound in your house when music is being created. And I'm not talking about, you know, great writings. I'm talking when children are plonking away and your head is spinning from the plonking because they've got to practice, because they forgot to practice all week. And lesson is in the next half an hour. So do. But also what that brings into a house. It's this a sense of peace for me when I hear the piano. Very often when Nell or Paul, I'm going to go home, but when Nell and Paul are home, they go on the piano together, and they'll have stands, because both of them are, even though Paul's an actor, he would lean to music. So music is part of our home, and my husband writes. So when I met him, he had written a ballet for another girlfriend. And
oh God,
yes, but it was gorgeous. So I kind of said to him, "You'll have to write me one," and he did. He's written me three pieces.
Wow.
Yeah. But when you hear the music, it's kind of like, yeah, the house is. This is what I wanted for my home. I wanted that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And we know a lot of the same people, because a lot of my very good friends, my best friend Jill and Barbara, they're out in Maynooth. They've been at a party at your house. You've been to their wedding.
Yes.
We were both at that wedding together. And I know from just chatting to them, like, and I know from the sense of community in Maynooth as well. They are so involved in the community. They are so involved in.
Oh, well, I mean, I got to know them through when the Ukraine war happened, which is, I think, 4 years today.
4 years ago today. 4 years ago today. Dearbhla, that was wild.
Quite wild. And Barbara met my husband in Lidl.
So just to put it in context to the listeners, just Barbara and Jill were two of my bridesmaids. So that's that's how well, that's how friendly we are. You know, they're definitely two of my posse. You know,
well, Barbara came up to Paul. I'm sorry, I'm switching around.
No, that's what we do on this podcast.
Barbara met Paul and said, I have a lady from Ukraine who's traveling through Germany as we speak with 4 dogs. Would you think of taking them? And we had nobody in our house. We're semi-D, 4-bed semi-D, and I remember like when it was happening, the initial days of the war, you know, what can I do? We have to do something. So anyway, we contacted the kids and I said, look, we're going to do this. And we took Lena and her 4 dogs.
And did you have a dog at this point?
We had 2 dogs at the time.
Oh God, okay.
So it was like a blind old man dog and 4, and I don't know if you know when you go on holidays, dogs look different.
Yes.
Okay, these dogs looked different. She had one dog called Amadeus, and he was like a donkey. He was this big. Like he came into the house, and like I still have markings on. So we gave our bedroom, which was the ensuite, because I wanted her to have kind of like her own space. So on the windowsill is still markings from the dog looking out, looking for her when she went off somewhere, and it was the greatest experience of, I think, Paul and myself's life at that point, because we were home alone kind of thing. And
did you write Shelter based on that from this book?
It's funny. In that book, pieces came to me through experiences that fell into me. So Shelter would have been for me us being shelter, but also where how I grew up, how sheltered I was.
Okay.
And also what I wanted for my kids, that they would create that for themselves. Do you know, that they would know that you're your own shelter. Nobody's going to, like, you've got to be your own happiness.
Okay.
Nobody's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
Nobody. It's nobody else's responsibility. You've got to be happy. And I think if we go back all the way back to that moment on the pitch, that was my wake-up call to, when is it going to be your time? So in other words, she had asked, when is it my time? And I had said, no way, it's not yours. We've got to get mothering.
Put everybody else
But it's a bigger
first.
question. When is it my time? Because being your time doesn't make you less of a mum or less of the guard that you are, or teacher that you are, or whatever it is. It means that you are giving yourself more and filling your cup. And I had let my cup empty a bit. I think I had sort of candle burning at both ends, wanting other mothers. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I think when you are working outside the home, there is a huge guilt of not being fully present. You know, I mean, there were times when I literally licked my fingers to wet their hair so that they looked presentable getting into the car.
So because you were a full-time guard.
I had to get to work.
Yeah.
And so those few minutes of getting through the traffic, and you know, wherever you live, there's traffic going to schools. So you know the moment that you're late because something's come on the news, and you know, okay, I should have been at the stop sign already. And I remember there was all this rushing. I was rushing through my life. I wasn't present in my life. I thought I was present. I hoped you thought I was a great mother. I hope, you know, when I said yes to a PTA, or making soup, making the sandwiches, pulling on the threads of a life that I thought I was fully living, but in actual fact, I was just skating around. And I think my kids, how sane they are, I think is magic, because it was chaos. It was chaos. They were parts of 4 or 5 teams, each of them. So it was, where do I need to be? And those conversations singing, then, when you have them with your partner, aren't conversations. They're kind of, where are you? You have the boots.
Well, listen, we're in the middle of it now. Like, it's like a business transaction. Like, my kids are 7 and 4.
Yes.
And we went on holidays, like I said last week, and we have an au pair, like we have an Italian girl living with us, because I couldn't take on this job on radio.
No.
Because I had to be in it. I have to leave at 5:30. He has to leave at work for 8. And I swear to God, Dearbhla, it was because I'm on air 7 to 10.
Dear
but it was the biggest, it took me 4 months to make a decision to take the show.
Yes.
Not because I didn't want to, but because I wouldn't be able to walk my children to school, which I had done for years. And it was the most magic part of the day, because they're so young. We have the opportunity to walk to school, and I lived for those months. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that. And I had to weigh it up,
Yeah.
But I love my job, and I love my career, and I love radio, and I knew this was an amazing opportunity.
And that shouldn't be weighed down with guilt.
Yeah.
But it is. It is. And we're also, as a female, I don't think we empower enough. We don't empower, we don't amplify each other enough to understand how hard it is. And that when somebody says, I'm tired, or my goodness, this is just, that we're not judging that, we're holding that.
We're holding that, yeah.
I think we're getting better at it. I think women are starting to realize that we are stronger together.
I couldn't do what I do without having this young woman in my life who, gets my kids ready in the morning. I'm there most evenings, but I couldn't do what I do without help.
No.
And I think you're right. I think we're becoming much more accepting of being able to talk about that and say that and
be vulnerable. I'm a big Brené Brown fan.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So
love her.
Brené Brown came into my life in the middle of doing my work. Like, I think when I turned 50, I started to really say, okay, so I had been Finding Joy for a little while before that. Maybe, as I said, Donegal was 14. And I had made it a practice. I was finding the joy in the simple, ordinary things. I was sharing that. So,
I remember the very early ones. You were posting pictures of flowers, you laughing in the wind, your scarf blowing.
That's right.
Beautiful blue skies. Just really simple.
Really, really, really simple. Like it was a tired mum's time finding joy. Literally at that point. And I remember one friend, I write about it at the back of the book, said to me, it was one day and I was out and we were walking, and I said, I have to find a joy. It's coming to 5:00. Day's nearly over. Haven't found a joy. And I was getting a little bit, literally looking around. And then she said to me, well, if it's that hard, are you being authentic?
Yeah.
And I remember being like, me, not authentic. And being like a dagger to my heart. And kind of going, well, I know that I'm authentic. So that's a thing I own. I've pretty much always owned my the whole of me.
Yeah.
Right. Not using bad word. I've always owned, it's a thing I believe very strongly, that you have to own the hard, dark stuff to be able to stand in outside of yourself and say, this is all of me. And I'm not that interested in skeletons. I don't have any. I've never had skeletons. I'm pretty much, you're going to find out all about me, and hopefully you like who I am, because I kind of like who I am. That's what I've learned, that I actually like who I am.
And can I ask you then, because 2022,
yes,
your life took a turn that nobody could ever imagine going down.
No.
And that was the time. So you had, so Paul and Nell were doing their thing. Donica's doing their thing. Your kids are getting their life up and running.
Paul was filming. Nell was in London. Donica had gone to New York. I was only gone to New York 4 days when this all happened.
And what happened?
So I had a pain. So when I had, when the Ukraine war happened, I got a pain in my arm, and knew it wasn't from ironing, knew it wasn't from cleaning. And with good doctors, we started, and then I started to get sick. Do you know, I wasn't getting well. So I'd get a cold, but it wouldn't be a cold. It would get worse. I'd get all, it just was something inside me said, there's something wrong. We've got to look at this in a different way. And flew to London on the Friday, and I was standing in Dublin Airport in the queue, and I got a phone call from the hospital to say, we have an MRI available for you today. Can you do it? And I said, I'm sorry, I'm heading to London. And I got on the plane on steroids to stop the cough. Did my first day kind of as Paul's +1 to go to Wimbledon. Just beyond myself. This was the most incredible place. It's central court, it's men's final, it's like everything that you imagine and what you see on telly.
And would you have been big into tennis anyway?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you? Okay.
So I would have, tennis would have been, isn't everybody into tennis when Wimbledon?
Oh, exactly.
So
it's
we all
when the World Cup is on.
Yeah, exactly. We all become experts.
Yeah.
So, but tennis had been part of growing up, and I went to work with my son, and then on the Tuesday I had the MRI, and on the Thursday I was told there was something amiss. On the Friday I was, they kind of gave you this kind of gobbledygook word that isn't good because it's got the cancer word in it.
Right. Hands up if you have ever been in a situation where you're just not feeling well. Maybe you're a little under the weather. Maybe you're in a little bit of pain and you're just thinking to yourself, I need to see somebody right now. We have all been there. And you need to know about the Mater Private's emergency departments in Dublin and Cork. Because when you're under the weather, being seen quickly is really all that matters. And their consultancy-led teams aim to see every patient within 20 minutes of arrival. How good is that? This streamlined approach continues right the way throughout your care. So if you do need a scan, an X-ray, an MRI or an ultrasound, they can get those tests done and the results back to you really quickly, which means your medical team can work out the best treatment plan for you as soon as possible. And that is what it's about, getting that specialist care to you without delay. Now, just a quick note, it is for over 16s only, and do remember to check the opening times. The Mater Private Emergency in Dublin is open every day, 8 to 7, and in Cork, it's Monday to Friday, 8 to 8. So if you're not feeling well and you need specialised medical treatment, remember, you've got the Mater Private Network's emergency department. Get all the details you need and a full list of services at matterprivate.ie. Sorted. But when you hear the word cancer, Dearbhla, for the first time, what happens to you? In you?
Personally, I kind of went, as I said to you, dark. I went dark for that few minutes. I looked out at the boys playing football and I remember thinking, oh my goodness. I imagined a wicker casket. I imagined I wanted to be planted under trees. I didn't want to have a funeral. I wanted to be planted under a tree and have a chair on the tree. So I went all there. Wicker, tree, chair. And I hadn't told anybody. At this point, literally, that was the phone call. It was me and my head looking out at the front lawn. And then Paul came, and then literally that Sunday, so that was Friday, or the next day was Friday, we went to and the doctor said, I think you should be in hospital. And on Sunday afternoon at 3:00, I was on floor 6 in the Beacon Hospital, which said oncology. And that is a whole other thing that you're in the hospital. It's not, oncology, cancer. And
it's like this is the thing that happens to other people.
And 1 in 2 people are going to know somebody who has cancer or have it themselves.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the statistics are frightening.
Are off the charts, but when you go through those doors, there are the most amazing people who hold you through it, who guide you through it, who also hold and guide your family, because you're going through it yourself. So you kind of become a little bit of an island. You know, what's next? What do you want me to do? Turn left, turn right, head straight. I went white coat. I didn't, I would be quite spiritual. I would, I'm a Reiki master. I like the spiritual side of my life, but I made a very conscious decision. Trust my white coats, take the medicine, do what I'm supposed to do, eat what I'm supposed to eat, and what's for me won't pass me. And
it was multiple myeloma.
Multiple myeloma.
That's what, and
never heard of it before.
And you did 17 weeks of
I did,
chemotherapy?
yes. So basically what they kind of, now, and I'm not a doctor, and I'm very conscious that lots of people have different cancers.
Yeah. And different treatments and different plans and all
it
that.
all works. So basically it works for my fingerprint.
Yes.
So my cancer.
That's how individual it is.
Exactly. And I did, so that week in hospital, they did all the tests. So I remember being in the MRI tube, you know, that noise, and thinking what parts of my body I could live without, because my view at that point was they knew I had cancer. Now they were looking for the primary. So I, in my head, had gone, this is a secondary cancer. So now they're looking for the primary. So, talk about finding your joy. I was literally sitting in the MRI, imagining blue sky, but also having a conversation of what parts of me could I live without. So, I can live without my boobs. Can you live without a kidney? Yeah, I can. So, and my left leg, my left foot, yes, I could, they can take all those things. So that's literally what I did for that. It felt like 2 hours in an MRI. It was a long MRI. It wasn't. And by the end of the week, I had started my treatment. So they had found what it was. They knew what it was, and they had a plan. They had made a plan for me.
In April 2022, April 2022, my best friend was diagnosed with leukemia.
Wow.
And in November 2022, she went into the Burkett's ward.
My ward, yes.
And I know that's where you were as well. So she was there in November 2022. I had no idea what MDS, I think is what she had. But it's a form of leukemia. Okay. So she had to get a full bone marrow transplant. Thank God her sister was a match. But Dearbhla, I remember, right? And because I live in Dublin 8, and I remember the nurse around me, she said, it's just her husband. She had 2 kids, 13 years of age at the time.
Whoa.
No one's allowed in. It's very restricted.
It's
isolation for weeks on end. Yeah. And I remember the nurse texted me her location, and she said, I can put the phone on her chest if you can find the window. So I walked around the bottom of James's all along that
beside where they're building.
Beside where they're building now.
Yes, yeah, that's where.
And I was like, is this really wrong that I'm looking in like
I know.
the window and trying to find her, but I just needed to see her and I needed to find her. And I walked, because everybody just looked the same. Everybody was no hair, lying down.
And you were very sick.
Very sick.
Like you were very sick.
I walked past her window twice, and then it was the nurse that waved out at me, and I was able to sit there and look in and be with her, and I was kind of there every day, and we decorated her window for Christmas and whatever. But I had never seen sickness like it.
Yeah, it's very sick. I don't. it's a funny thing. I shared my journey so it's on my stories. So it's still on my highlights on my Instagram.
And you did that consciously, like that wasn't...
I did. I had a conversation with obviously my life, because I have 2 public facing children and Donica, who is private, I'm very conscious that my life isn't my own, and not in a bad sense, but in the sense that our privacy and things we cherish need to be kept that way. And I think people think that when you're public on Instagram, they're getting all of you. Nobody gets all of you. It's, absolutely you will get the real me, but the real me that I want to share.
Yes.
That part that I want to share.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Like it's, that's as much as I'm not, you're not going to, I mean, when people come on, I'm sure they come on my Instagram thinking I'm going to talk about my children or whatever. That's, it's a portal to me. I happen to be the mum of Paul and Nell and Donica. And yes, I am a mum in all senses. But I did make a decision because I thought, as a 52-year-old woman, that if my doctors had been lazy, or the easy reach was going to be menopause, 52. She's got pains. It's natural. It's probably her menopause. She's tired. She works full time. So, all my little things, if my doctor hadn't been listening, it could have got missed. And I wanted people to know that cancer happens upon you. It's not that, you've gone out to find it. It actually happens to you. So I spoke to the kids and I said, I'm going to tell people that this is happening. I'm going to share the journey. I had no idea what the journey was. I really didn't. I had terrific Tuesdays, tremendous Thursdays. And that's how I saw it, that every Tuesday I went in. And then...
And even Dearbhla, when you were in the height of that sickness that I witnessed and experienced with my best friend, like, it's a fucking, how do you stay positive?
I'm very lucky. I am a glass half full.
Yeah.
And I do know that that's a real positive thing in life.
Yeah.
Because when it gets dark, that your glass half full obviously starts to seep. But the fact that you already have some water there that you can constantly tip up or top up. I had been practicing joy, and there was a community of people that were engaged. And I was sent joys. Right. So, like, one of the things that happened, and I really don't, so as you've just explained, I was very sick. So I was really not paying too much attention to days, weeks. I went in post the Oscars and into Easter. So Easter happened while I was away. And Paul won an Olivier in the middle of it. And one of the days when I was probably more lucid than not, I look on my desk, or the little chair or table that's in the room. He had sent the Olivier. So the Olivier is on the
actual award.
The actual award. He had sent it home.
Wow.
And but beside that was a little rabbit with an Easter egg, like a little ceramic Easter egg rabbit, and an owl. And an owl is my spirit animal. Sorry.
Okay.
But those 3 things were, and outside that window that you talked about looking in, daffodils were growing. And there was builders, because the builders were building, our building over there. And I knew it wasn't easy for them looking in, and yet they're looking in because it's huge, big windows, and they're waving, and you're waving back, and that you look really sick. So it has to be scary for other people to see you. That's sick. It's scary. And but I remember it just being really odd. There was an Olivier, there was a little Easter bunny, and there was an owl, and And then I opened, like, I didn't open my phone. I wasn't able to open my phone, but my sister was able to come in. And she used to check my Instagram for me, and she'd say, you got a message from, do you know this person? I say, no, I don't. She said she sent you a picture of her kids in a puddle, or these strangers from anywhere, Auckland, Shetlands, the UK, America, like places I'd never even know exist in America, were sending me little messages of their joys.
Their joys.
And it really, really, it kind of cemented for me that the journey I had put myself in that day on the pitch was now coming full circle and holding me when I was most vulnerable.
And I've heard you say, and I've heard not for the first time, that it was a gift. Yeah. Cancer is a gift. Yeah. And I think for people, when they hear that,
no, and I totally, and
I understand it.
You understand
I do understand it. And you know, Sheila Shoiga would say the same thing. It was the best thing that ever happened to her, getting thyroid cancer, which is a difficult one for people to process. But if you get out the other side, if you come out the other side.
But also even in the middle of it, in the middle of the hardness of cancer, and it is hard. My head felt heavy. I remember some of my hair had grown back and it actually hurt. So there, I'm not for a second going to say it was easy, but the gift it gave me was pause. I could reassess where I wanted to journey next.
And where do you want to journey next?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think, you know, obviously the book has happened upon me. Did I ever want to be an author? That had never crossed my mind. I knew I wanted to share joy. I knew I wanted to do that. When I share, you're going to get the whole of me. In other words, no makeup. I don't wear much makeup. I have every wrinkle that's on my face is legitimately here. It's here because I lived my life. And here's another thing. I don't judge you for not wanting the wrinkles that you have if you don't want them. And if you want to change up that, you do that. I'm okay with who I have, who this body is now inhabiting.
You're not going down the Botox filler route.
I mean, I watched that program that scared the life out of me that you did. Like, it really scared me. Like, it scared me for my daughter. It's actually, I shouldn't say it to my daughter, it scared me for my children. Because I think loving the skin you're in and being at home with yourself makes you much easier to love.
100%. But I think if you're in the public eye, and I'm not just talking about, you know, Paul or you now, I mean, you've kind of, or Nell or whatever, because anybody with an Instagram channel, any 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, like, you are kind of public property, or you can put yourself out there as such. And there is such a pressure. It's so insidious, like, that we can't age.
And there's filters for everything.
Filters for everything. We can't age gracefully. Like, I love looking back at pictures of my two grandmothers, and they have lived in faces, you know, and it's a life of joy and fun and adventure and hardship. Yeah. But like, you're seeing less and less of those faces.
You're seeing less and less of those faces, but I think we have to be kind. And we have to lead with kindness. That if somebody is so unhappy with some aesthetic part of themselves, that I'm trying the 4 agreements. So I'm trying very hard. And one of them is, you know, to not engage in putting somebody else down. And so what I'm trying very hard is that if you want to do this and it's going to make you love yourself more, I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to try really hard to hope that my kindness to you is enough kindness that maybe you will start to fall in love with a crooked nose or whatever it is.
And that's what I get a real sense from you, Dearbhla, and having followed you for a while. You are, as you said, you're projecting and you're putting out that joy, but you are massively protective of your family.
Yes.
And you're so normal. And I know that's always what you've been. And but then you've got like your kids, and Paul is like the most talked about man pretty much on the planet. Living in, I'm just back from LA. My sister lived in LA for 10 years. I mean, at the Hollywood acting scene, it's so far from messy gardens and kitchens and yellow piano keys.
But you have to remember, but you have to remember that what we made a decision as a family that we're going to be together. We've got each other's backs. My children now are moved on, like they're in the world. They are of this world. They have their own set of people. I am in the wings. I'll always be in the wings. And I'm learning that as a mum, but I'm also knowing that people are hungry for that celebrity, if that's what we want to call it. People are hungry for it.
How do they manage with all the clawing and the?
They manage because they know who they are. They were reared in Maynooth. They were reared at other people's kitchen tables who adored them, that they grew up with managers and, and the GAA and rugby.
Barnhall Rugby Club.
Yes, and like and North Kildare, because mine were in North Kildare.
North Kildare, I should have said that.
But they were reared with their peers. So my children aren't special. They're the same as everybody else's children. And most of us don't want to share it's not our business to share our children's business. And that's where I come from. It's not my business.
But as a protective mom, I mean, we were talking earlier, Paul doesn't have social media. No. You manage your social media in a way that what you want to see. It can be a difficult, toxic place at times.
And it's addictive.
So when you go on and read stuff about your kids, like, does that not make you want to punch somebody in the face if they say nasty things about them?
Yeah.
And I know Dearbhla Mescal is not going to say.
Yes. No, I think the journey from 2020 when Normal People came out to now. So what's that? 6 years.
Yeah.
Actually, nearly 6 years coming up in this year or this spring. Paul phoned me the night before it came out, and I was in my uniform. I just finished work. I was frontline, so I was out at work. So obviously lockdown was on, and I was in my uniform, and I was sitting on the swing in the back garden, and it was beautiful weather. If you remember lockdown, it was gorgeous weather in Ireland. And he rang me, and he was running on a canal somewhere in London, and he said, "It's coming out tonight, and whatever way it lands, it's going to change. Because if it's crap, nobody's going to be watching it and they're going to talk about it. And if it's great, they're going to love it and they're going to talk about it. So it's either way, it's going to be talked about." And I remember that time of my child being on my phone, but not from us, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That it was paparazzi photos. It was, the idea that anybody would find Paul interesting enough to be papping them. The only people I knew who were papped were the Kardashians.
Yes,
In my head, it was Kardashians or royals. They were the people that were being papped. Yeah. And suddenly my child, who's in a park running in gas shorts, is a thing of interest. So
overnight.
Pretty much overnight, yeah. And Nell was still in school. Like Donica was where was Donica? Donica was Dublin starting his, he was obviously back home because of COVID. He was back home, but he was working, from an office in upstairs in a college or whatever. I can't remember, but I do remember it affecting all of us, and yet it was fabulous. Like, it was fabulous in the sense that people liked what he was doing, and I think he loved what he had done. So it was, and we, paparazzis get bored and move on, and I've learned that. We've learned that. I see my children navigating their lives so much better. They know how to navigate. They know how to move in airports. They know how to move on the streets. Paul, Nell, they live a very ordinary life, doing what they love. And I am hyper protective of that. I would die if I shared something I shouldn't share, or and I think part of this journey for me was where I was going to land with that. Like,
because they must have been hugely protective of you. Like, all of a sudden, you've got all these thousands of followers. You're on Davina McCall. You're on the Late Late Show.
Well, even when I signed to do the book, we had a conversation. Because once you're out there, you're out.
And this is the thing that I think people forget. Like, you're a creative person, and you found an outlet to bring joy to people. Paul is an actor who said, I really want to give this a go. And like so many people in that creative space, you think of Jessie Buckley.
Yes.
And she's the epitome of it, right? Like, their art, their craft, it's what they love. And
Absolutely.
The fame actually is so much not what it's about for them. And I couldn't think of anything worse, but actually you just have to take it as part of the package.
It is part of the package.
It's part of the package.
And
But it's a part of the package that so many of them don't like.
Oh, and as I said, Paul is not social media. Nell has to use social media because she's a singer-songwriter. So it's a different usage. It's a different need. I'm obviously, my community was found in Instagram. So it is where I sit. And I think I'm managing it well. I think the Davina podcast definitely.
That was a biggie.
It was a biggie. But it also, you were saying about comments, and, you get, should I look at comments? No, I shouldn't. No, I'm not going to. I don't really want to know, if they.
Well, that's such a juxtaposition for you, because your Instagram was a place and is always a place of positivity.
Absolutely.
And the bigger then you get and the bigger you go, you are going to get.
And people are unkind.
You are going to get arseholes.
Yes.
You are just like,
And they are.
And they are there trying to take everybody down.
Yeah. And there is an unkindness that seems to sit very close to the surface in the social media world. And I know that people will be listening to this and going, oh, well, now listen, you wrote a book and you put it on, and you're doing. Absolutely. I am fully committed to knowing that what I'm trying to say to people, I fully stand behind. It's authentically who I am. The words are mine. I want you to find joy, that maybe you won't put that comment up on that person that you don't know and you have no idea about their lives. I think there's a third wall, or whatever that is, that people think that what they see is real. And if you think about any selfie, because my phone is full of selfies that will never see the light of day. Right? So you take.
I think on average, we take 5 selfies before we're happy with the one we post.
Right? Exactly. And we don't delete.
No.
Right? So if you think about that every person that's putting up any picture or any aspect of their life, they've moved that pot to be just so that corner doesn't look as messy as it did. I have fairy lights up in my downstairs of my house because I don't dust. That is truth. I can put on.
What do they do? Do they just like camouflage the dust?
They make me feel happy.
Okay.
I don't even.
Oh, you're just saying in your Christmas zone.
Oh, I stay there, and they are everywhere, and I
love that.
But that's what I do. The Christmas lights are up, and they stay up, and they're always up.
I love that.
And that is, but there's, that's like, so people are, what you see is what you want to see. And
But I think you've always been very authentic, and I'm actually going to give you a story because Jill, my friend that we know, she has these pair of yellow Crocs, right? She is going to die now, but she has these yellow Crocs, and every time she went out with them, we were like, Jesus, Jill, would you, like, they should not be seen out in public. And she was like, pick off. Like, I like them. I like the fact that they're bright. I like everything. And then she lent you yellow Crocs because I think you posted a picture when you were when you were over for the Oscars.
Yes.
And it was a picture, and it was kind of a very real picture of you, and you just had these yellow Crocs. And Jill then sends us the picture into our WhatsApp group. She's like, Dearbhla likes my yellow Crocs.
She did, because I did. Jill came over. I did dresses to show the girls what I was going to be wearing.
Yeah.
I'd gone down and bought them in the town, and I said, "Now, is this okay for this? And is this okay for this? And what do you think?" I think I wore 2 dresses.
Yeah.
After buying all of the dresses, we didn't wear any of them. We had such fun. But Jill's Crocs came with me.
The yellow Crocs made it to LA. And the other thing, the Mescals and myself have met in a former life, a previous life. You just reminded me of this when we were having coffee.
My husband, one late night, applied for
No Frontiers.
No Frontiers. And we ended up winning.
So sorry, like this must have been what year? Can you remember?
So I was pregnant.
This was the travel show that I used to do called No Frontiers, for anybody who's maybe not old enough. And it was, I did the show for 13 years. It was a travel show.
So Paul,
and we used to get families to enter in the competition to go away.
We'd go someplace, and then obviously a camera would follow you and do the thing. And so we got Wexford. We got a pet.
We sent people to Barcelona. We sent people to the States.
We got
the Mescals from Maynooth ended up in Wexford.
And we got Wexford, and it was we got Pet Week, like one of those pet weeks where it's sun shone. But this was
Paul and Donica.
So it was Paul and
Donica.
So Paul would have been 6. Donica. No, Paul could have been 8. Donica, or it doesn't. 6, 3.
And Nell wasn't even born.
Nell was in my belly.
Oh
and
my God!
In my belly.
Oh my God! I have to get the footage of that. Have you got it? Have you got a VHS tape?
It's in my attic, and anybody who has seen my posts know my attic is. We got those electric for solar panels, and we had to clean out the attic. We did one half.
And the other half still not done.
Oh yeah, and that was virtual trauma. Virtual trauma. We stayed together, Paul and myself, as he went up and down and trying to get rid of things.
Oh, I love it.
A bit of a hoarder, I'd say.
I love it. Are we there yet, Dearbhla Mescal? When you hear that, what does it mean for you? If you were to answer that question, how would you answer it?
I'm almost there. I'm at the car park of the venue.
Mm-hmm.
Who you see is what you get. I have fallen in love with myself. All parts of myself. The parts that you don't necessarily share, I'm in love with. So I'm in the car park of the venue. I'm not too sure I know what the venue is yet, but I'm very excited to see what's next. I'm really happy to see what's next. So do I want to ever get to there? I don't know. I'm really enjoying this section of my life immensely. It's a very happy part of my life.
And I think that phrase, you've got your whole life ahead of you, strikes a chord particularly for people who have come through an illness like you and have been given that chance to go again.
Absolutely.
Like your whole life ahead of you.
Totally. And also that now when I get blood tests, which I have to get, I'm probably not going to die of anything. I'm going to find everything. And there's cures for everything. So I could be around. I could be around for a long time. So
well, hail to that.
Thank you.
Oh, it has been so nice chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
And I've really appreciated you coming in. The book is Finding Joy, and it really is beautiful words to capture the beauty of ordinary life, which you do so well, my dear.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a million for your time.
Oh, so kind. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to implore you to get that VHS tape out of the attic.
Yes.
Right. Hands up if you have ever been in a situation where you're just not feeling well. Maybe you're a little under the weather. Maybe you're in a little bit of pain and you're just thinking to yourself, I need to see somebody right now. We have all been there. And you need to know about the Mater Private's emergency departments in Dublin and Cork. Because when you're under the weather, being seen quickly is really all that matters. And their consultancy-led teams aim to see every patient within 20 minutes of arrival. How good is that? This streamlined approach continues right the way throughout your care. So if you do need a scan, an X-ray, an MRI or an ultrasound, they can get those tests done and the results back to you really quickly, which means your medical team can work out the best treatment plan for you as soon as possible. And that is what it's about, getting that specialist care to you without delay. Now, just a quick note, it is for over 16s only, and do remember to check the opening times. The Mater Private Emergency in Dublin is open every day, 8 to 7, and in Cork, it's Monday to Friday, 8 to 8. So if you're not feeling well and you need specialised medical treatment, remember, you've got the Mater Private Network's emergency department. Get all the details you need and a full list of services at matterprivate.ie. Sorted. You've been listening to Are We There Yet? Hosted by me, Kathryn Thomas. Visual design and video edit by Stephen King O'Farrell and Connor Daly. Music courtesy of Audio Network. Series producer Paul McGregor and executive producer Sasha Hamrogue. New episodes of Are We There Yet? Are released every Tuesday morning wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also watch this episode along on YouTube. Are We There Yet? with Kathryn Thomas is an Onyx original.